Today on a Gryf Special Report edition of GTFO. It has just been confirmed that main tank superstar Fissure, formerly of the LA Gladiators, has now signed with the Seoul Dynasty. We'll be taking a look at his statements, as well as examining what this could mean for the Gladiators and the Dynasty, looking ahead towards Season 2 of the Overwatch League. I'm Gryf, and this is GTFO. So as I said in the intro, today I'm going to be talking about the Fissure situation, his move from the LA Gladiators to the Seoul Dynasty. We're trying out a bit of a new thing here on the channel. It's called Gryf Special Report. Basically all that it is when brand new news breaks, I'm going to be trying to cover it in as timely a manner as possible, just to kind of talk about some of the basics, some of the things that have gone on, to give you guys the information as quickly as possible, and just give a few short opinions on what is going on and what this could mean, depending on what the news is, but what this could mean for Overwatch and for the Overwatch League. But like I said, today we're going to be talking about Fissure moving from LA over to Seoul. Obviously, this is huge because Fissure, throughout this entire first season of the Overwatch League, at least when he started playing during Stage 2, has been just a complete superstar. He's the one who, his inclusion at least, was able to turn the LA Gladiators from a mid to low tier team to a team that was, top 5, top 4 in the league at certain points throughout the season. So obviously, this is a massive change, and we want to be covering it for you guys as quickly as possible. So first, I think we just want to kind of get into what Fissure had to say about this change, because obviously, there was that situation going on during the playoffs with Fissure and the LA Gladiators where he didn't participate in the playoffs, and no one really was 100% sure why. Slasher was reporting one thing and saying that Fissure wasn't satisfied with the situation in LA, wasn't happy with the communication, wasn't happy with the scrims, wanted to go to an all-Korean roster, and Fissure came out and said something completely different. He said that, they just decided that iRemix was better based on scrims, which didn't really sound very realistic, just because obviously we know Fissure to be the superstar main tank, but different things were said, and no one was 100% really clear on anything, but now we do have a statement from Fissure concerning his move to the Seoul Dynasty, so I'm going to read that out for you guys. And what Fissure had to say was, "I've dreamt of playing for Seoul Dynasty for a long time. I'm very excited to wear the Seoul Dynasty uniform, and I will try to bring my A game for the fans. Also, I'd like to express my gratitude to the players and management team of the LA Gladiators who have supported my decision. I won't forget the memorable moments I had last season as a part of the LA Gladiators." So that's what Fissure had to say about the situation, and it's not difficult to believe that this is, something that he would say. It did seem, based on those reports from Slasher, that he would be a perfect fit for the Seoul Dynasty, moving to an all-Korean team. It seemed like that's kind of what he wanted, and I think Seoul Dynasty is definitely a good fit for Fissure moving forward, not just because, he wanted to be on an all-Korean team, but especially because during, Season 1, they had those struggles at main tank. You saw they were playing Miro, Kuki at different times. They kind of had that back and forth. And at one time, they even had Jaehong on main tank, which, completely blew everyone out of the water, and it ended up not working out all that well. I think it was more for his shot calling than anything, but they definitely struggled with that main tank position during Season 1. So Fissure is literally the perfect fit for this team. Moving him over to the Seoul Dynasty will take the Seoul Dynasty, who really underperformed during Season 1. I think it's really going to take them from a middle-of-the-pack team to that dominant force that you would expect from them, at least if, their DPS are able to get things in order. If everything kind of clicks the way it should be, Fled is not having an off day, Jaehong is back on his A-game, I could really see the Seoul Dynasty looking really scary heading into Season 2 with this new addition of Fissure. And as far as this concerns the LA Gladiators, obviously there are some concerns now. iRemix didn't look weak at all during the playoffs. Obviously, they had a really strong first day against London, but then moving into day 2, London just came back and absolutely destroyed them. But I don't think that was all on the back of iRemix. I don't think that he is a main tank that is on the level of Fissure, so I think that is a bit concerning for them. But I think a lot of people want to put the success of the LA Gladiators entirely on the back of Fissure. And I don't think that is necessarily, the case, because sure, Fissure being on the team completely changed things around for them, but then you saw them in the playoffs going up against London, and they were doing really, really well. What happened, at least in my opinion, was that Fissure came over onto the team. He rejuvenated the team, provided them with that main tank presence that really allowed, the DPS and the supports to start getting into a groove and performing, and from that point, they only improved from there. So you had guys like Surefour, Hydration, Big Goose, Shaz, those guys were able to completely turn their own seasons around. And moving forward from here, I do believe that they're on a much higher level than where they started, not just synergy-wise, but as individual players. So I don't think this is necessarily going to be a situation where Fissure goes to Seoul Dynasty and suddenly you see the complete collapse of the LA Gladiators, but I definitely think it is a downgrade at the main tank position. We may see them making some roster changes going into Season 2, especially since, you are seeing a bunch of new talent cropping up with the Overwatch World Cup. So who knows, you may see some new DPS over there, you may see some, another main tank get picked up. I really am interested to see where the LA Gladiators decide to go from here. But I think this puts Seoul, most of all, in just a really good position heading into Season 2. I think that this is exactly what they needed to rejuvenate this roster. You may see the exact same thing that we saw with the Gladiators. Obviously, it is a ways away from the beginning of Season 2, but I think Seoul picked up exactly what they needed to pick up, and I'm really excited to see what happens to the team from there. But that is basically all there is to say about it. I did just want to get this video out so you guys would know as soon as possible what's going on with that situation, what my thoughts are. We may be touching on it in a future episode of, a full GTFO episode where we cover this kind of stuff and have more of a discussion about it. But I did just want to get this out in a Gryf Special Report for you guys to know what's going on with Fissure. So if you did enjoy, please remember to go down, like this video, subscribe to the channel, go down, leave a comment below telling us your thoughts, what you think about the Fissure situation, what you think about this video, anything like that, feel free to. And I am Gryf, and this has been GTFO.